Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Boy, Erin, the last time we took a trip down in Nago, but this time we going to San Salvador.
Say what? You talk about my own time? Over the UE, over the hill, down in the field. You know what I'm saying? Yeah! Ring them scream style. Watch it. Hey! Watch it, G. Watch this. Let's go.
Once I had a girl, she called me pain. Left me in the cold and pouring rain. So I decided to put her down. I took her to my town. There I met a gal in the pain. Outside in the field, cotton cane. She looked so good, my pressure rise, my lord. When I looked into her big brown eyes, I said, look what you could get when you
Good morning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Thursday, the 26th of October, 2023, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene on this Culture Thursday. We've had lots of news, lots of heavy analysis, interrogation of politics and governance. We've had a full week of talking. I wanted to sort of keep it light this morning. That's what my plan was last night when I was preparing for the show. So I got a playlist today. Let's play some Bahamian music up and talk about some things. But then, of course, when I opened up today's papers, there's so much to talk about. And so on the lineup for today, it is an open line Thursday. We're playing Bahamian music, and I'm looking at the headlines. And of course, at the top of the week, I announced a small giveaway. I asked listeners to call or text in and identify a charity that I could donate a small amount of money to. In fact, it was a donation in sorts to my company after we conducted a lionfish demonstration at Food Fest weekend just gone. And we wanted to pay it forward. And so I'd ask listeners and texters to share with me charities, groups, or individuals they felt could use a small donation. Well, here we are so far. And I think I have decided what I'm going to do with the $100. It's just a small donation, $100, right? I got a letter from a Junkanoo group, the Immortals. It wasn't directed to me because of this giveaway, but the Immortals are they're doing their yearly fundraiser. They are reaching out to the public to support their group for the upcoming Junkanoo season by making donations or purchasing instruments or supplies. The reason why I like the Immortals is because they're a B group, and in that group see the group as like a developmental space where they're not looking to matriculate, right? They're not looking to be moved up to the A group. They want to maintain that space as a teaching space, as a developmental space, a space that welcomes new and young Junkanooers and prepares them for the A group, right? And I really appreciate that because that's a mechanism to preserve Junkanoo and to preserve Bahamian culture. So I'm going to split the $100 in half, and I'm giving $50 to the Immortals, And then when I opened up today's paper and I see the story that is in both the Guardian and the Tribune, school monitors find boy aged 12 living in car alone. I've decided that I'm going to give the other $50 to that young boy in care of, right, his new caregivers, so that in this sort of transition period, right, maybe to buy something that makes the transition easier, that makes his new living space more comfortable. You know, I struggle between the idea of, do you go to a school and you say, hey, put this money toward school supplies for a student? Or do you put the money in the young person's hand and say, listen, life can be stressful. This is so that you can have a moment stress-free and enjoy yourself, right? Both equally important. But I think that's what we're going to do with the donation. I'm coming to you right now, caller, and later in the show, I'm going to thank the donor who shall remain anonymous at this time. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
For golly day to this dark in the voice along with you, Erin.
Good morning, Bremen. How are you doing?
Boy, you need justice, law, and order in this country, the Bahamas.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but what I want to ask you, right?
Yes,
Two things. Why is it that nobody trying to find out who is this youngster parents?
Well, trust me, Bremen, I'm certain that they are trying to determine who the young man's parents are.
Well, he should have already told them.
He's a minor, so the media won't necessarily release his parents' name or his name because he's still a minor, right? That's a possibility. But I'm
There's
certain.
a possibility there, but still, this situation needs to be developed. At least the media or somebody should say, well, they found his parents and his parents is blah, 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 blah. See, a situation as such, it seems as though the comments, you know, it can say, well, people encouraging situation to be happening.
Yeah, I know. It's possible, hey, Bremen.
Yes, man.
Now, listen, it's possible that this young man, this young boy, may be of Haitian descent. It may be that his parents...
Then tell them,
but, Bremen, it would be difficult to know. Listen, imagine he was born here, he grew up here, he goes to school with Bahamian children, and all the children sound Bahamian, because he is Bahamian, right? Because he grew up here. You couldn't just look at him and talk to him and necessarily know.
I understand what you said, but I don't really want to say that's a cop-out. Now, see, that's a child, and he should have professional around him to find out already who he is, who his parents are, where he came from, whatever.
Yeah.
To give the media.
Now, Bremen, no. You need to find that out to ensure that he can stay connected to his parents if they're alive, right? And that he can be in the safest circumstances possible.
I agree,
the
but
information
we still should know as a people.
Right.
We should know where he came from, what is what.
Now,
we should know that.
Now, Bremen, but there's some balance here, right? You're not wrong, because there are national security concerns, right? You need to know. You need to know.
One more other point.
But we can't. I know, but we can't interrogate him like he's a suspect.
No.
Okay,
that's why I say we have professional in this country to deal with situation as such.
Yeah.
And because we have professional, the media supposed to already know the circumstances of the situation.
Absolutely. I feel you, Bremen. This is
okay.
This is an important issue. And if you read the story in today's Guardian, you'll find out, there's a quote, just the other day they found a 12-year-old living in a car by himself. he's in safe custody, right? And so this is not the only child, the only minor that may be living like this. It's a national security issue, Brayman.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Now, my other point is, right?
Yeah.
You haven't forgotten me of that other situation, right?
No, I haven't forgotten.
Okay.
it. Okay.
Good.
All right. Yes, sir. Have a great day. All right, guys. Like I say, this story, I'm going to delve into it a little bit. Again, I'm going to repeat the charity giveaway little campaign that I started on Monday. I gave listeners an opportunity to share who they think should or could or needs a small donation support. We didn't get many callers. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm okay. I've decided that I'm going to split them up. I'm going to give 50 to the Immortals, the B group, developmental Junkanoo group. That's what I call them. They are prime time. And the young man who has not been identified to protect him, right, who was found recently living in a car by himself. I tell you why. See, this transition could be rough, you know. We're looking at a young boy who, whatever, we don't know the circumstances, has found himself responsible for himself. He has become man. Due to the circumstances he's in, he has become man. Due to the circumstances he's in, he has become man. He has to take himself to wherever he has to go and bring himself back to wherever he feels safe. He's concerned about his own food, his own health care, his own hygiene. If he's going to school, how is he keeping his clothes clean? Where was he storing his school books? Where was he doing his work at night? Time change. Time is changing, right? Less and less daylight. And now he's being transitioned to a state-run residential care facility. All of those things that he had to do to take care of himself, to some degree he may be responsible for some of them, you know, not the food and the eating and the housing, but maybe you have to wash his own clothes, right? Maybe they have a laundry facility. But now this young man, he got to be under manners like he's a child again. That's going to be a difficult transition. Well, it can be a difficult transition if not managed properly. How do you tell a young person who has been forced to become an adult, and if not to become an adult, to operate like an adult in the world and still remember that they will be treated like a child? How do they make that transition? He had his own, it was up to his own skill and will to hustle money. Maybe he had a little job. He may not be able to do that job anymore. Maybe he also left school and he was working. And now he's going to be required to go back to school. He's going to lose so much of the autonomy that has become a part of who he is. And we hope for him that he can have as smooth a transition as possible. That's why I want to put the $50 in his hand, quote unquote, in the care of his caregivers. So that, like I said, perhaps he can make his living situation more comfortable. Maybe he can buy the toiletries that he prefers. At 12-year-old, he could be man in his body and have a preference for the type of deodorant that he would like to wear or the type of soap that he uses. And that's okay. That's acceptable. Anyway, producer, play that song by Solo Made Former, please. Again, it's a Culture Thursday. We're peppering the news with some local music. I want to keep it light. We had a heavy talk week. And we got this new song by Solo Made. I heard you all heard it yesterday on the radio. This one, what'd they say? This one sweeted me? That's what the young folks say. I want to talk to my good friend, Mr. C.A. Nuri. Good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning. It's good to have child care advocates on speaking in the public, challenging the status quo, reminding us that children have rights.
Yeah.
And we tend to forget that at times, that children have rights, and we tend to dictate our agenda onto them.
Yeah.
So you're too young to make decisions. You're too young to care about yourself. You're too young to consider your future.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is you got to do. And I'm happy that you are here in this space to remind us that, hey, children have rights.
Yeah, man. And they have feelings as well, right? And even when we do have the authority to make decisions for them, we cannot tell them how to feel. We cannot demand that they feel and act a certain way, especially if it's to make us feel comfortable, right? They are young people, and most importantly, their brains are still developing. So even when you think you can demand of them that they act with common sense, you must remember that they are in a biological state where their bodies are still trying to find balance. See, they're becoming adults. They're becoming men and women. You don't go to bed one day as a child and wake up the next day as a fully fledged adult. Definitely not with sense. It's a process. And we have to balance that and recognize that they have rights and they have feelings. And they have the right to express those feelings. In fact, what is the point of being on this planet if you cannot express your feelings? And we got a couple of texts here. Good morning. And Bremen's point is relevant. Parents usually are arrested for neglect. Knowledge is power. Awareness of people is necessary. National and cultural security is necessary. Absolutely, Texas. I mentioned that. This is a matter of national security as well, but we have to balance that, right? We have to balance that, because what if the child is a citizen? And some people are suggesting that what's implied is that, if this is a migrant child, we need to know how they got here and why they're here by themselves. And I could even see in the distance I like that word, Mr. Nuri, the speculation, because I like to speculate, buddy, right? And my national security team must speculate on everything. They must go down every road and explore where it ends.
I see you mentioned national security and their role and their mandate.
Yeah.
What about the media? Does the media has a mandate to question national security to see if they're checking up on it, to give a report back? Mm-hmm. Or this is going to be one of those stories that is buried next week and say, man, this did finish with, man. We ain't talking about this no more. It's like knowing who won the music competition.
Yeah. We just don't know.
We just don't know. And why ask?
Because we need to know.
Yeah.
Because there's a budget line for it somewhere.
The money spent out.
And the question should be answered. And you sort of supporting Bremen's point, and I really appreciate it. There are things that we need to know. I just want understanding that this is a child. And the point about the media, and that was Bremen's main point, that the media should be telling us this story. I want to balance that as well, right? Because I think the media should be telling us this story. But the media should be telling us this story because the media has an obligation to ensure that voices that are marginalized, like children's voices and young people's voices, and their stories are also seen, right? And they're seen without bias. It's important for the young person to know that people care about their circumstance.
And we need to remember that all children belong to us.
Right. And
that's our child.
Right.
And we have a duty to care for the child. So all groups, or every church, every civic organization supposed to respond.
Yeah.
We see that this is an emergency.
Yeah.
This child is in crisis.
Yeah.
And I know that the government will do their part.
Yeah.
But I also have a part, right?
Yeah.
I have a duty of care to say, hey, does that child need clothing?
Yeah.
And I go and buy clothing, new clothes, that's yours.
Do they need books?
Do they need books?
Yeah.
And I'll go buy the books, that's yours.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that other people are not hurting or anything, but this specific one's from the nation.
Yeah.
Right?
And the point you make, they are our children. And once a child is in the state's care, in residential facility, any state facility, we, the public, then have an obligation to ensure that we are the watchdogs.
Yes.
That we ensure that things are happening the way that they're supposed to be happening. Because the child, if it's in the care of the state, does not have immediate next of kin to provide that function, right, of safeguarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Just had a flashback about the children who were abused inside the home care.
Yeah.
Well, where we had the video.
Yeah, and we haven't...
No answers either.
Absolutely.
Just
And
quiet, silence. And typically to us, we tend to forget.
yeah, I'm also
forget.
remembering the anecdotal stories coming out of post-Dorian Abaco, where a teacher apparently at a number of meetings had raised the alarm that there's a community of young people, there's a community of children who are actively taking care of themselves or were actively taking care of themselves in Abaco immediately post-Dorian, right? And we haven't had a follow-up. Now, mind you, it's also up to us to go to the agencies, right? Request a follow-up. We request as much information as we can be privy to. We understand that the state has an obligation to protect the children, and so names can't necessarily be shared. There's some information that you, the general public, can't have access to. But if you are part of an organization that does this work, right, then you can potentially access more of that information. It's a big story in the Tribune
It is a
and in
big
the
story.
Guardian. It's the thing that we should be focused
And
on.
if it's a big story, like you said, should this be in the media for the next week?
It should be.
If it's not in the media tomorrow, it's no longer a big story.
I mean, that's the way the culture goes. And what I'm hoping is that advocates and stakeholders in this space reach out to the media and ask for time to discuss the issue, right? Because there's this balance. The media focuses on what the public thinks is of interest. And it's also important for the public to say, we want to hear more about this story. Please do follow-ups, right?
Do we want to hear more about the story, though, Erin? It's kind of depressing.
It is kind of depressing.
This is Youth Month, man.
Exactly, that's why it should be...
Let's talk about the good things with youth, no?
No, this is a good thing about youth. Let's celebrate this young man, right?
Yeah.
Let's celebrate him.
His
because-
survival,
Ah,
his strength to persevere despite, because I was going to give up. That's
Yeah,
good thing.
I can be-
Lord, take me now. But no.
you know, I pulling up at somebody house in front of somebody's house, and with my Georgie bundle, one of y'all got to adopt me.
Mind you, this story isn't foreign to me. Growing up off East Street, I've known children who lived in cars. I've known family who live in cars and abandoned buildings and shacks. I've known clock at night said, man, we hungry. Can you just give us a plate of food? I've grown up with that. I've seen that down the road. I've known children who said, whatever clothes you have, just give me, please. Right? I've known children who are being abused by their fathers, their uncles, their nephews. This was like commonplace over the hill. And I've known social services coming and collecting children and bringing them back, putting them back into the
same environment,
Yes, you know. And after a while, your senses tend to get dulled with. So this is just us. This ain't spectacular.
But we can't allow the environment to be desensitized. We have to hold these standards. Otherwise, we are potentially creating callous and careless children and citizens. When we turn a blind eye, when we make it possible to ignore these things, right? When children say, hey, mommy, look at that person on the side of the road, and the parent says, oh, don't mind that. That ain't your business. We have enough struggles. You create children who can ignore or invisibilize other people's trauma and other people's crises, right? And I just want to say this, that no matter how you feel about this life in a small island developing state, we cannot, and an archipelagic exterior, we cannot afford to mainstream that culture where we can invisibilize and ignore those things that make us uncomfortable or require of us more than we're willing to give, right? See, because it may require more than you are willing to give. It may be able to give, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't give something, right? And that's why we have to focus on it. We absolutely have to focus on it. My experience is slightly different from yours. Because my mother worked with social services, I was acutely aware that these things were happening, even though I wasn't witnessing them, I wasn't living amongst that, right? But I was acutely aware that those things were happening. So I understood why my mother didn't come home at 5:30, when we, because she had a job that required her to look after other people's children. And I knew why, right, in many instances. And so that's how I come into a culture of volunteerism, supporting where you can on your side. And that's why I'm so big on the conversation about structural reform versus charity. I understand charity and what it can do. I've grown up through it. Charity has shown me is that we have the resources and the strength to actually implement structural reform. So people don't have to rely on charity, right? But I, not the exact same experience, but from a different perspective.
I understand.
We got another text here. Good morning. The 20-year-old case I miss if the man was on the run in jail or on bail, please say if it was reported. Thank you. Dear texter, I need a bit more detail. You talking about the story with the young woman? Mr. Nuri, I just didn't print that story. I have it written up. Give me a moment, texter. I'll get back to it. Producer, play that track by Solo Made for me. We're going to go to a quick break, and I'm going to see if I could pull up that story. And then I want to tell you about a story about the Coconut Boys.
Young men
Who
on the hustle.
Yeah, who on the hustle. I'll tell you a story about the Coconut Boys when we get back from this song. I don't know if we go into a break, but Solo Made has done it again. Y'all check this one out.
I pay my light bill every month. At the end of the month, it keeps going up. Then they cut you off and want you to pay. Come to find out your light was off all day. Oh, it's a damn shame. BPL so cool. They swing me, they swing you. Oh, it's a damn shame. Still using fossil fuel. Big old sun, they won't use. Your light bill is a mortgage payment, and that right there don't make sense. How could the bill be more than the rent? This company is hell-bent. Oh, it's a damn shame. Wish I could cut the light on, put the light on, put it off again. Messing up my appliances. This ain't a real place, and I digress. Then you were on the road, and just like that, you fall on a hole. Blip, 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 that's a flat. Go in your trunk, try grab this beer. Come to find out, your jack ain't there. Oh, it's a damn shame. One thing to the next, this paradise is full of stress. Oh, it's a damn shame. BPL so cruel, they swing me, they swing you.
Now listen, guys.
It's a shame they don't want us to live. Only want us to be slaves, paying the bill.
It's a damn shame.
I'm tired paying these high
Listen,
bills.
first of all, Solo Made, well done.
This is when it's better work.
Let me tell you why. See that song right there? That's the story of my life. That opened up my heart just now and caused me to confess something to you all, the general public.
I teary-eyed, actually.
I live with my mother. And let me tell you a part of the reason why I live with my mother. Because I'm a Bahamian that grew up in the time when rent was, your light bill was the same as your mortgage or more than your rent. I grew up in that era. Lots of Bahamians grew up in that era where your light bill was equal to or exceeded the amount you had to pay for your mortgage or your rent. That's my life. that haunted me just now, because I can imagine there's a whole bunch of people who have been traumatized, right? Like, they don't want to become adults. They don't want to have to deal with it because it don't make any sense. How could your light bill be equal to or more than the mortgage in the Bahamas? 6th, 4th, 10th highest cost of living. You just randomly throw out a year. 4th, 6th, 10th. We don't fall below 10th highest cost of living in the world. I understand why these people ain't moving out their parents' house. Because eventually you're going to need somebody to help you pay the light bill too.
It's a damn shame.
You know what I'm saying? And so I wonder how these young people, that young man may have figured out, he said, look here, it's just going to be cheaper for me and my family, since I is man now and I could take care of myself, to room their equation, to give them some more funds to share amongst the other children or whoever in the household. And I can strike out and see if I could take care of myself. Because it ain't making any sense over here where the supposedly sensible people talking.
It's a damn shame.
And so the idea, I want you all to understand something, that it's 2023 and we have returned to that space. And I argue in less than 10 years, definitely in less than 20 years, we've gone from your light bill is equal to your mortgage to a significant reduction. And now we back to your light bill is more than your mortgage. And let me make this point. Ain't nobody at BPL is making any sense about anything they're saying. I want to read this article from yesterday's paper. BPL upgrades will lower bills. Consumers can expect lower light bills in the coming months as Bahamas Power and Light plans to upgrade its systems to allow it to burn cheaper fuel, according to BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge. Quote, basically what we're doing is a combination of things that are going on as well as things in the market, close quotes. What I want to know is, in all of that, in the entire article, you only mentioned the glide path recovery strategy to say it was necessary. You do not reference the glide path recovery strategy or the schedule of rates set out in said document, in said policy, where our surcharge rate is supposed to be decreasing. See, when you made the announcement October 4th, 2022, in your press statement on fuel charge amendments, you can find a similar statement from the Prime Minister October 4th. You can search statement by the Honorable Casey, MP, Prime Minister, and Minister of Finance concerning the increase in fuel tariff being introduced by Bahamas Power and Light. You see, what the Prime Minister says is, quote, and most importantly, these increases are short term. After implementing price increases in stages over the next 4 quarters, BPL calculates that the fuel charge will begin to come down. When you look at the schedule, it indicates that the period from December 1st to 2023 to February 28th, 2024, your fuel charge will drop from 18.5 cents to 17 cents if you're under 800 kilowatt hour usage. And if you're over 800 kilowatt hour usage, it will drop from 25 cents to 18 cents. See, but I have a concern that I raised in October of last year. February 28th, 2024, we do not see a reduction to the original rate in October. See, the original rate in October was 12.5 cents for under 800 kilowatt hours and 14.8 cents for over 800 kilowatt hours. And that is the increase. That's the increase. So what I want to know is, when will the charge return to the 12.5 cents or to what it was before you implemented this new policy? See, when y'all made the statements, in fact, I suggested that clarity wasn't just warranted, it was necessary. It was vital for us to understand the rationale behind the policy and the rationale behind the shift from the fuel hedge policy to the glide path recovery strategy and fuel charge increase policy. And so here we have now the CEO telling us that we can expect lower light bills in the coming months because you plan on upgrading your systems, but tell us how much will we save as the glide path recovery strategy takes us back to the original point. And why didn't you have the temerity? Why weren't you brave enough to tell us on October 4th that you had no intention of going back to the original policy? See, I can repeat what the Prime Minister said. And most importantly, these increases are short term. See, I don't need to speculate on this. These increases are short term, suggest that we will return to the original rate in a short and defined period of time. See, you could do what you want, but you must speak to us transparently and honestly and with accountability. Yeah? Look here. I just want you all to know that when I inflected just now, I was just about to go to that call. I'm sorry, caller. I missed you. See, I want you all to understand this. Y'all think like young people don't read the paper. And young people don't live in the house with their parents who read the paper and have to deal with this. Good morning, caller.
I hope you're doing well.
Yes,
Erin,
sir.
while you're trying to find out the rationales behind all of those things, find out for me the rationale behind the government signing these contracts for people to get Christmas bonuses out of a company that's losing money, a company that is in the red millions of dollars. Let me just ask him, Erin, if you owned a company and you didn't make a profit, would you pay a Christmas bonus?
Well, we wouldn't be able to pay a Christmas bonus because a Christmas bonus is dependent on the profit generated at the end of the year.
Right. So how could Leslie Miller came in one time and talking about these gas station people can't hold the public to as hostage, and these unions, they do the same thing, and the government kowtow to them, and we as the taxpayers are left with all of these burdens. They can't even keep the lights on. My light was off almost 8 hours on Sunday.
On a Sunday?
On 8 hours, Yeah. And yet at the end of the day, they expect to get all of these benefits and all of these. Come on, man. That can't be right. That can't be right. You can't expect the government to just because they are the government and they're doing this, the government could find money to this. These companies, and BEC is not a quasi-government corporation, is it?
Well, I think I got to look at the math, but I think government still owns a part of it.
These what they call them, state-owned
enterprises
and whatnot, they have to fund their own way. If you want a profit, you have to show that you are generating. Bonuses are based on performance.
Yes, sir.
It's not based on just because you are an employee and this entitlement and all kind of things. Because at the end of the day, we, the people who are suffering out here, who can't afford to pay our bills.
Yep.
Read my meter, and there's nothing. They send me a bill. Say I use X amount of
fuel.
Kilowatt hours, right? So I say, I really never check my meter. I went out on the meter screen, and ain't nothing on it. Just a blank. It's blank? Where did you get this figure from? But I ain't far from that. I going across the road, and I'm going to tell them, it's a damn shame what you're doing to us.
Look here, I can play that song again, sir. I can play that song again. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful. I on the clock?
You are on the clock, sir.
Oh, okay. coming close to that kind of time. But
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
my grandmother always used to tell me, when you tell one lie, you got to keep telling another one. The cover for the one which you tell is into infinity. Now, the people saying the light bill could drop, right? But aren't these supposed to be the generators that ain't working properly and causing all kind of highlight bill and thing?
And didn't you see in yesterday's paper, they say they got to send a whole bunch of rental generators to Andros so they could bring them to some sense of normalcy?
Yeah, because according to the Prime Minister and the CEO, the water generators ain't working and they ain't no good, and that's the wrong kind of fuel.
And even if
light
they
bill
were,
drop in.
hold on, even if they were working properly, the building that they in can't withstand the pressure.
You in the same jungle group as me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, that's what other the food for thought.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Mr. Producer, play that song, Take My Oath to the Billy Goat, please. Just very quickly. I am so impressed by Melody and the whole, cohort of young rake and scrapers, Bahamian musicians coming out with new music. They challenging these old boy, and I love it. We started the show with Iris Store, Look What You Could Get. And we played Solo Made. I don't even know what that song called. But I gotta take my oath to the Billy Goat. I'm gonna tell you all something after this song. This is Melody, Take My Oath to the Billy Goat. Mr. New, I thought at first she's gonna take her oaths to the Billy Goat. Because Billy Goats eat oats, right? But no, it's Take My Oath to the Billy Goat.
I thought that I was scot-free, thought I was in the clear. My little sis pimp on me, whispering mommy's there. Mommy asks me if I do it, I shake my head, say no. She gets cool, she grabs, she's falling love. Take my oath to the Billy Goat, I ain't gonna lie no more. Never will I do it, no, not like before. Cause when I shoot it, lick me, I hide behind the door. Take my oath to the Billy Goat, I ain't gonna lie no more.
Listen, I'm about to take my oath to the Billy Goat. Let me tell you all what I plan on doing when I leave the station today. I got a delivery to make, and I'm asking the general public to carry a message for me, please. I would like to talk to the Coconut Boys, them. See, our Prime Minister did a thing where he empowered with impunity the Coconut Boys. Now, basically, the Prime Minister tried to do a good thing and ended up doing a bad thing. I can say it just like that. He tried to do a good thing and ended up doing a bad thing. See, because when you said, hey, we see these young men, we see they're looking for work, they're trying to become entrepreneurs, they're trying to do a thing, right? You basically authorize them to go out on the street without any of the infrastructure needed to do what they want to do safely and be without being a hazard to other people or without perpetuating or engaging in criminal activity. So if you know the Montague Coconut Boys, them that be in the cutout on the Montague foreshore, I want you to tell them that I take my oath to the Billy Goat that the 3 piles of coconut trash that have been dumped in my neighborhood very near the Montague foreshore will be returned to that foreshore. Now, you're going to tell me that, Miss Greene, you cannot say with certainty that it is those coconut boys that dumped the trash in your community. But what I could tell you is this, is those boys them don't go far to dump coconut. It's very likely that it's them. But here's the message that I want you to send to them before I return their trash to them today. I am so disappointed in you, not because you decided you was going to dump some trash in an empty lot that you knew wasn't abandoned, but because you're lazy and you refuse to think. And you didn't realize that what you did was you dumped a bunch of value. You dumped a bunch of trash that could have brought value to you. Right? First of all, you cut out the coconut and only sell the water. You leave all the coconut meat in the coconut. Then you refuse to acknowledge that there are hundreds of coconut vendors around this place who are looking for coconut shells to make jewelry and art from. And then you refuse to acknowledge that the hustle has tremendous value. If you had a mulcher, if you had a plan, if you had an idea. And then you're trying to convince me life is so hard, but it's free to dump coconuts at the dump. It's free. Free. Producer, let's go to that caller. I see you buzzing there, caller. And stick a pin. We're getting back to the Coconut Boys. We'll take my oath to the Billy Goat. I can see them today. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. I sort of hear you hang up and call back. There's an issue with the line. I hear you trying to get through. See, there's plenty value in that trash you decided to dump in my neighborhood. Here's what you bring with the trash. You bring rats. You bring rats. Let's go to the caller, producer. We ain't got time for that. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Erin.
Yes.
What I called for, right?
Yes, sir.
What those coconut guys should do, take the coconut husk and stuff like that, the bark and stuff like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And burn it, right? Make ashes for their coconut farm to keep insects out.
You think they have coconut farm? Hey, Bremen, that's a great idea. No, you know that's a great idea, right? But they ain't got no coconut farm.
So they still ain't there.
Well, some people are buying. Some people are buying.
They're borrowing.
Some people are borrowing.
Oh, borrowing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
What I want to let them know is you can't borrow from the same place you dump the trash, right? I just want them to know. See, people, we're not into snitching on young people. We ain't into hampering their vibe. But nobody tolerates a stupid criminal.
No,
A
we should
stupid
not.
criminal is a detriment to all of society.
That's right. And it's time for us to clean up this nation big time.
Absolutely. There's
Thank
just
you.
so much value. Thank you, Bremen. There's so much value that could have been extracted coconuts. And now you just leave it to me to extract jokes from it. Dear young men. I bringing them coconuts back to you. I want you to know that I saw your car. People think I just speculating. I saw your car. I saw you drive off with your back trunk up. I just want somebody to bring this message to you. Because you're not smart enough to protect yourself on these roads. You're not smart enough to keep yourself out of trouble. So let people give you some advice. Go rent a mulcher, turn the coconuts into value. I got some text here. There's a place on Gladstone Road that makes organic coconut soil and fertilizer. They can take them there as well. You could go sell them. Where the cheap gas come from all of a sudden, or we had to pay that back bill for almost $2 million, over almost $80 million was paid in 6 months. Oh, that's an ASU, eh? Look at the ASU they put on us. Another text. Miss Greene is sharp. No, I'm miserable, and sometimes it's magical enough to come out like sense. Erin, it's hard out here. Millennials were sold a dream of home ownership. Yes, y'all were. Let me tell you, they sold. But don't be mad at them because they didn't understand it either. Yeah? You got to be balanced. Let's go to this caller very quickly. Y'all don't know I have so many songs I wanted to play today. Producers, go to the caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Erin. Good morning, Erin.
How you do?
You know, you're on point this morning, but what's even sadder is nobody did ever learn the coconut boy them the value of every part of the coconut is worth more than the water.
Yep. Every part. Every single part.
Fail again.
Thank
Fail.
you.
But you know what? You know what, Erin?
You got
It's
30
really
seconds.
sad.
Yeah.
I didn't even need 30 seconds. It's really sad when Yahoo go to war. If he does, what happens to fuel and what happens to us. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Graham. We need projections. I'm hoping that the Chamber of Commerce and Employers Federation will organize a session where the experts can come and talk to us and help us prepare for what could possibly happen over the next couple of months. This word with every coconut boy you know. That people are not mad at you because of your hustle. People are mad at you because you refuse to legitimize your own operation. and you think the whole of society should tolerate every obstruction, every hazard, every theft, every trespassing, because you deserve to live. People are willing to work with you if you're prepared to legitimize your operation. But what you're doing is not working. Take my oath to the Billy Goat. Producer, I don't know if I want to end the show with Bahama Rock or The Garland or I Ain't Going Home. I like Avi, but you decide for me. Or even Get 'em Ricky, Lyrical Pineapple Performance. I got Therese Hepburn, Mr. Bus Driver on the list, Lassie Doughboys, Rake and Scrape Mama. See, them by them ain't leaving home. No matter how much mama licked them with that rake and scrape. Because things tough. Things tough out there. Mr. Nuri, we're going to continue the conversation in the next hour?
Well, we do have guests. Youth.
Oh, you got Youth in Parliament.
Director of Youth is coming in. She's supposed to be coming in time with
Oh,
a team.
nice. Okay,
and
never
then
mind.
we have Dr. Theen Campbell coming in at 11:30 hour. So we have an interesting thing, but we can entwine what you were saying here into the conversation. And I still have Friday.
Yeah.
We can mash up all of these things again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to say a quick note to announce again the charity giveaway. I'm splitting the $100 in half.
$100.
I'm giving $50 to the Immortals, and if you want to also support them in their Junkanoo
I need
campaign,
to talk about the Immortals some more because they have a Junkanoo campaign and I needed to make a donation too. And
Yeah.
if you make a donation, I can at least try
Throw a blow.
near match it.
Yeah, man.
Because you have money.
No. I mean, I did, but I gave it away.
Yeah.
And if you want to support them, you can call 535-9844. It's 535-9844.
We need to have one of them come on the show to talk about what is it that they're doing.
I just want to hear Junkanoo. But yes, that's a great idea. That's a great
Junkanoo in
idea.
the background.
Also,
we
and
just
then
need to find someone who could come in.
And then we need, I'm going to split the other 50 and we're going to figure out how to put it in the coffers of, right? Donated to the young man who is the center of today's
And I want to
story.
hash that out. Like, how are you going to do that anyway?
I'm going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out.
We can figure it
I'm going
out.
to try and reach out to Glennis Hannah Martin. And if I put the money in her hand, I know it's going to get to him.
Okay.
Absolutely. The producer picked a good song. Turn it up, producer. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for contributing to the conversation on the phone and via text. Guardian Radio AM and CA Nuri is up next.
I came from Waikani to lock. Immediately I began to knock. When I looked through the jealousy, what I saw drove me to insanity. I began to tremble, I began to shake. You could imagine I was like an earthquake. Caused me to change up.